I am Pops, and as you can see from the background, we're going to talk about Transformers. That's right. Transformers, the animated series, is over on Tubi for free. That's correct. More Than Meets the Eye, all three episodes, episodes 1, 2, and 3, set the stage, got us all hooked on Transformers. I want to pay some tribute, give it some love, and share some of that with you guys because if you didn't really live through it in real time, and maybe it is a little difficult to kind of get your head around why we all love it so much. I don't think you should feel that way, but many of us just love so many elements. I'll give you a little dose. The song itself lives on in like a special little place of kind of how it all works and things that we loved and enjoyed. One thing I will say is that I was very critical of the movies, especially after the first one, because all of the robot fighting and things like that just get so crazy. They didn't have design elements that were distinct enough that you could kind of keep track of the who's who and the what's what. It just got to be too much. Whereas with the cartoon, all it did was always want you to want more. So yeah. So that's just a little dose of the intro. Um, I think that the what surprised me about rewatching them was that the first episode, which centers so much on Cybertron, of
Intelligent
course,
robots.
is how much the detail there was in the animation, how beautiful this was. I guess I don't know. I mean, obviously, I watched it. I remember watching it, but look at the animation details that they have going right here. Like this is just again with the Batman animated series, they were going for cinematic, and I feel like with Transformers, I don't know if that was their creative background. I didn't dive too much into the animators and who they were, but so much world building, so many details that were happening in and around what is it? Look at that. That is just so beautiful. Almost could be concept art for something that is related to, Blade Runner and Dark City and other sci-fi things that come along literally over the next 10 to 15 years after this debuts. It's just that was probably my biggest takeaway from the first episode or so was the incredible detail with a lot of the animation. Just so many things are here. And I know, like, for instance, one of my biggest criticisms of like Invincible, which I know a lot of people love, and I get it, was the backgrounds, though. The backgrounds are so cheap. The backgrounds don't have any detail. They don't have any world building. There's just not a lot to work with that. And I was very disappointed. Um, the other key element that happens pretty early on is we get very unique dynamic elements that are presented to us in small doses. So for instance, this is an introduction to Soundwave, but what you also get here is he disguises himself here as like a lamppost. Okay. We get our sound effect and then he completely transforms so he can take the shape of multiple things, which we kind of know, but now we really have it spoon fed out for us. And then he kind of sends out Laserbeak immediately to be a spy droid, and he's like a drone that kind of goes around and he becomes this. So okay, immediately as a kid, I don't remember exactly how much more expensive Optimus was, but I wanted a Soundwave because you had the little cassette, and the cassette would transform, into Laserbeak and Ravage. It was so amazingly cool to me to basically have this robot that could take the shape in so many different ways and do so many different things. I was just so all in because he transforms into like a radio and just yeah, yeah, this was so good, so good. Okay, so here again, the story. the story doesn't have a lot of massive layers to it, and I wish the movies had done a little better job of trying to focus on Cybertron and the war that has transpired, and then having the time jump, because we don't really get that element of the time jump, because the war on Cybertron, the fact that the uh, Decepticons attack the Autobot ship, they attach themselves to it, that causes the crash, and they basically end up spiraling into the Earth, and they're stuck there basically for like millions of years before, through a couple of events, they're sort of reactivated. And when they're reactivated on Earth, they're piecing together different elements of what they need to do, or is it even possible, on how to get back to Cybertron, how they need to go and gather and basically steal resources, so that that's even a possibility, because in the beginning that's not even something that you would think would be an easy thing to come up with. But what's really interesting here is how much content is created. This is just leading up to the crash before you end up with the crash. And I guess maybe because it's a kids show and I didn't think that much about it, I guess I thought of it as being more juvenile than it actually is. And it there's just so much story and so much information that I just really couldn't believe it. I was just so blown away at how good it all was. Again, the animation, the design of the different characters, how everything kind of plays out, and then also just the incredible amount of like heroism that kind of plays out as well. There's Ravage attacking one. Um, they transform in different types of cars, how the humans are as curious as we are about everything. And of course, they end every episode with some sort of cliffhanger, or at least some sort of element that kind of makes you want more. And again, I was kind of surprised by that. I was really surprised at how much of that there was. Um, Again, I'm not trying to, dismiss this for you guys that are like these massive watchers of the show, because it's not as though I haven't watched it. I just haven't watched it in a long time. Um, and the humans are very naive. The humans don't quite know what they've gotten themselves into, right? The Decepticons are using their computer access to figure out where to go and steal resources from, to get the juice. And this is one of those great battles where we have them sort of face off for the first time. And again, everything goes well, right?
No! I'm going to end your hunger once and for all.
Yeah, isn't that great? They could just, it's like, wait, what? They can just make like energy based weapons, like an axe and a ball on a chain. Like, what on earth? Like, this is the thing? Like, this is how this works? Like, as a kid, your imagination just ran wild of what can actually be done. And again, we think of the Optimus as this amazing thing, but he fails again. He doesn't beat Megatron. But Megatron comes out victorious, and the battle rages on. And then they come up with their plan of how they're going to attack, but it doesn't go well, as it doesn't go well either. And Prime has kind of put himself in a situation where he's basically almost like sacrificing himself, right? Um, just really, really good stuff. Very much about a lot of heroism, a lot of teamwork, a lot of conversation about good versus evil. Like, it's very clear how they're really explaining to children how an entity would be so evil it could care less about your planet or your resources. It's there as like a locust to just consume those resources. There's not going to be a negotiation. There's no like conversation that you can have with the Decepticons to get them to not want to basically pillage everything that they need, whatever they want, right? And Starscream is at odds with Megatron about leadership, because Starscream is even worse. He's naive and more like erratic than even Megatron, but that makes Starscream even more dangerous in some ways. So very, very interesting dynamics. The voice cast is amazing. Like I said, the animation is great. Just an epic, epic show. And again, free over on Tubi. Something that everyone should be trying to get their hands on, is there's so much content on Tubi. GI Joe is over there. I noticed that as well. Tons of shows, tons of movies that are rotated in and out. Lots of great content for free. Again, there's commercials if you don't have the physical copies. So Anyway, this is my take on it. Throw it under the old Throwback Thursday banner. I didn't open with that, but going to end with that. Thank you so much for watching. I am Pops.